Hi everyone, Jennifer Woods here, independent consultant and executive area manager with Arbonne. I wanted to do a training for you guys really quick on what I have learned over the last little while in my business and also in some of the trainings that I've taken around managing objections from your prospects. So in the past, when I received an objection, I really took it as a negative thing. It made me feel defeated. I kept saying, oh, why don't people see what I see? And I was seeing it just as a really bad thing. And what I found was that actually an objection is something that can be seen as a positive. And so you're probably thinking, how on earth could it be positive? So let's say you reach out to a prospect and you share a video with them, or you bring them to a Discover Arbonne event. And, they seem really excited. Maybe they leave the event, they're excited, and then they go home and they're thinking it over with their other half or, with a friend or family, and they come back and they say, oh, yeah, you know what? I'm just really busy, or I don't have the money, or, I'm not sure I could do this, or so-and-so's not supporting me and I just need their support, or whatever it is. There's a multitude of sort of, let's call them reasons, why people would say that, or why they would come back with an objection, right? And so typically the objections kind of look those ways. They come out in the form of money or time, or, I don't think I can, or it's not who I am, or I'm not into sales, or whatever it is. But what I'm here to tell you is a couple things, and it's really good news. So first of all, the fact that they're even getting back to you, the fact that they're communicating, the fact that they're engaged in the conversation is a positive. It means that they're interested. If they weren't interested, they would just flat out say, I am not interested. Thank you for bringing this, but no, it's not for me. And that's a different conversation. But if they're giving you a reason or an excuse, then they are interested, but there's something else going on. And yes, there is sometimes, probably very few times, where money actually is an issue or time actually is an issue. But 9 times out of 10, this is what I've learned, 9 times out of 10, it's not really that's the real issue. So our job as the independent consultant and the professional is to get to the root of the problem, okay? But before we do that, what you can do to set yourself up for an even easier conversation and to sort of dispel some of those objections right off the bat is by addressing them up front in your sharing of the opportunity. So let me first talk to you about, there are basically 3 true objections or things that people really need to know in order to be able to decide if this is an opportunity for them. So 1, is this legit? Is it for real? Okay, that's the first thing people are wondering, right? You get the pyramid scheme question, you get, oh yeah, I heard about these things, they don't work, yada yada. Okay, that's 1. Number 2, can I do it? It's the skill set side of things. They're worried, they don't have experience. How on earth would I do this? Where would I start? That's a real concern. And then the third one is, will you help me? They're worried they're gonna be all by themselves, and they don't have the confidence to do something like this without having some support, right? So when you're talking to somebody about the opportunity, you want to address those 3 things in your sharing or in your story when you're sharing with them how you got involved, because we do that, right? We share our 60-second story or whatever it is. So number 1, is it for real, right? So dispel the myth of the pyramid scheme and all that stuff in your sharing so that they don't use it as an excuse. So you could say, hey, listen, I was really skeptical when somebody brought this to me, but I did a bunch of research, and what I found was this is the smartest business model I have ever seen. And, when I saw that it was legitimate and that people were really successful and that there were, 270 VPs in Canada all driving Benzes, I knew that I could get there too. So that's the first thing. You can share a little story, right, to dispel that myth. Number two, can I do it? So they're concerned, can they do it? So you might share with them, hey, when someone shared this with me, I had no experience in this type of business. I had never been an entrepreneur. I was terrified. And I was really afraid that I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know where to start. But what I found was there was this system that was laid out for me by the people who had been there before, and it was simple, and all I had to do was follow it. So you can give them the example of, hey, when you buy a franchise, they give you a system, you just follow it, right? So again, you can dispel that second fear or concern. The third one is, will you help me? And this one here, you can say, this is where you're going to share about the fact that we have coaching and mentoring and amazing support from our upline and our sidelines in this business. And you can, again, tell the story that, I was really afraid that I was going to have to do this alone. I didn't know where to start. But then what I found was there's this incredible leadership and mentoring program and training available at my fingertips. Anything I could possibly want to learn, I had available to me through our source, through video training, SoundCloud, plus one-on-one coaching with my upline, and sidelines and community, and so much support that there's no way that I could ever not have everything I need. So you can address that up front as well. And put that into your story. Put those three things, something that would address those three concerns. So again, is it for real? Can I do it? And will you help me? Okay, so address those three things in your conversation. Now, if you do get an objection, like someone will often say, oh, I'm just not good at sales. Or, you know what, I just don't have the time. 9 times out of 10, something else is really going on. And what you need to think about is you need to get down to the deeper root cause of the issue, because like I said, 9 times out of 10, that's not actually the issue. So you can ask questions like, hey, listen, so let's say I put the opportunity in front of you, I give you a video to watch, and then you come back to me and you say, you know what, Jen, this is interesting, but I'm way too busy for this. What I might say is, you know what, I totally understand that. I felt the same way when I first started. I think we're all so busy these days, we just don't even have 5 minutes to breathe anymore. But can I ask you, can we just take that concern that you have of being really busy, if we just take that concern and we put it over here on the side, can we just put that over here for 1 second, get their permission, they say, sure. And then you say, is there anything else that's stopping you? Is there anything else standing in your way? And they might have another concern, and they might say, well, I told my husband about this, and I went home and I shared it with him, and he doesn't really think I should do this, and I really need his support. And you can say, oh, I totally get that. My goodness, thank you for sharing that. But can I ask you, can we just take that for 1 second and just put it over here on the side? So your husband, you need his support. I totally get it. Can we just put that on the side for a second? Yeah, sure. They answer. And then you can say, is there anything else that's standing in your way from getting started, aside from you're very busy and you really feel like you need his support and he's not quite seeing it the way you see it? And chances are they're probably going to say, no, those are the two things. And then you can go back and say, okay, great. So do you mind if I share with you a perspective that, from my experience? And then that's where you can go back and tell them a story, right? And really, truly, now you've identified what's really going on. So you can go back and say, so is time really the issue? And look, you're getting vulnerable here, right? Like, you don't skirt the true issue. Go in for the true answer here. And you're going to say to them, look, so is time really a concern, or is it really more that your husband, when you shared with him, he didn't see what you saw and he wasn't really supportive? Ask them straight up. And they, chances are, will say, I am busy, but, I do see that this is an opportunity for me. And so, it's really actually that my husband's not supportive. Like, that really makes me uncomfortable, and I can't do it. without him being on my side. And then you can say, okay, so the time thing sounds like it's probably less of an issue. It's really more about the other. So let's address that. Can I share with you from my perspective? Get their permission, they say yes, and then tell a story. And just say, look, it totally makes sense that he hasn't yet seen what you've seen. He hasn't seen the presentation the way that you've seen the presentation. And, of course, I wouldn't expect you to be able to explain the opportunity to him in a way that is meaningful because you are so new and you've only heard it once. So my suggestion would be, if you really do see an opportunity for yourself, then what do you say about, allowing me to show him what I showed you, or showing a video to him, or bringing him to an event? Ask their permission and then see what they say. And so that's just one example of how you can, respond to objections. But I hope you find that helpful. I'm going to wrap it up. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there's really those 3 different concerns that are actually going on. Is it for real? Can I do it? And will you help me? So really address those and uncover the real issue. And when they have concerns, you really want to identify how many concerns they have. So ask them if they can take it, put it on the side, and then ask them if there's anything else standing in their way. Once you get to the bottom, you've got all your objections. You can help them understand, ask their permission to address them, share from your experience how you were able to overcome that challenge and what your life looks like now. And you can ask them, does that help you? Do you now see how this could fit for you? Ask them those questions. And then really, you just want to say, hey, listen, now that we've addressed the challenges and you've agreed that you do see that this is an opportunity for you, are you ready to get started? And don't be afraid to go in for the ask. Okay? So I hope you find that really helpful, guys. I just wanted to share that with you, and good luck.